Hey everybody, what's going on? This is the first episode of Introspective Gamer podcast, which is a long title. I need to work on it. Anyway, my name is John Solis, and while this may be my first podcast, well, I guess that's kind of where the sentence ends. I tried like a YouTube channel type thing, but it didn't really go well, which is not the problem. The problem is that I realized that I'm not a very, I don't know what you say, like image friendly persona, you could say. Just the sorry, I'm recovering from a cold, so I also don't sound this hoarse. If I sound hoarse, I'm not too sure what I sound like, but yeah, I'm not really the getting ready, getting dressed nice, being camera presentable is something that is pretty hard for me. And it's not because I dress like a slob or anything. I'm not like that. I really don't care about my appearance too much, but so I'm gonna give this podcast a try. And I know from what you can tell, I'm probably a rambler, so I'll try not to ramble. Anyway, to get out of that brief history out of the way, I'm a gamer, which is a silly title, which I'll probably explain in a later episode. But yeah, I play games, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I just kind of wanted to make a podcast or a YouTube channel to kind of vent, kind of like more like a diary or personal blog than anything. But I figured why not just put it out there. I mean, yeah, I'm just another voice in the giant pot of people on the internet. But I figured it's a good way to vent. And if anybody likes what I have to say or agrees with me or disagrees, and also wouldn't mind getting some conversation through that as well. All right. So I have a little script in front of me, actually, that I'm trying to, not a script, it's just ideas that I wrote down to see if I can get them out, because that's the problem with the video as well. I would talk a lot, but I really wouldn't do anything or have visual elements for the videos. And so I figured, let me try audio only. Anyway, so yeah. Man, okay, so this is my notes. I have a who, what, and I was going to do the 5 W's, but I didn't because there's no reason to do when, where, why. But the who is my name, and the what, I put talk about games and general interests. I guess, okay, that's what I meant. Sorry, this is terrible. So anyway, so I'm John. What I want to achieve from this podcast, not even what this podcast is about, is basically going to be me talking shop about video games and current events in the not the entertainment industry, video games and just current events that I find interesting. So right now, this script only has one topic today, which probably from the title you'll know is the Nintendo Switch reveal. It's going to happen in a couple of hours. That's kind of I'm going to have a list of topics, but also I might have a bunch of tabs of internet articles that I'm interested in sharing. Or if I read an article that day, I'll put that as a topic. And I'm going to be recording Monday through Friday, about like 10 to 15 minutes each day, so that I can just kind of put them all together at the end of the week. And let's say if I do the max 15 minutes a day, you're going to get like probably an hour and 15 minutes of a podcast. Again, it might go longer, it might go shorter, but I'm trying to cut down my time because I also know, because I'm a rambler, I end up just talking and talking, and my rants kind of get a life of their own and just never end, really, because to me everything's connected and blah blah blah. Again, if I used to ever say blah blah blah, or you know what I mean, or whatever, it's because I'm trying to dismiss myself so that I don't ramble. So I guess from there we'll just start the show. And like I said, today is going to be a short one because there's only one topic that's on my mind, and it's been on my mind for the past week, and it's the Nintendo Switch reveal, or specifically the Nintendo Switch briefing that they're going to do today, January 12th. I've been waiting for this since they announced it a couple of months ago, and now that it's here, it's just really exciting. Like, you can't even know. I've been annoying my wife and my brother, who I live with. I tell them, hey, get ready for the Switch, and they kind of just roll their eyes and say, yeah, leave me alone, which is fine. I'm used to that, but it's just, I really can't explain why I'm excited about it. I think it's just the hybrid of it, all the rumors that have been leading up to it. I mean, video game outlets have been spreading rumors. That's the other thing. I'll probably name my sources later down the line, but one of my biggest sources that I go to is NintendoLife.com. I think it's a very good site, but only because it focuses solely on Nintendo, which can make it kind of slow these past couple of months from the Wii U and 3DS perspective, because Nintendo's not doing much. But that's what this gets me excited about the Switch, is that we're now getting ready for a new console launch, which is going to bring new games, new experiences, new stories. As for whether or not it's going to make Nintendo succeed or fail, I think it's too soon to tell. I'm just really hyped because I don't give a shit really what it does. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to pre-order it. And I don't know I don't care what this reveal is. I was going to say, I don't know what I want from it, but I do know what I want. I want it to be everything that Nintendo wants it to be. So let me get that out of the way too. It's obvious. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. But I don't want to also be like a radical fanboy. I play a lot of other different systems. Well, I played in the past. It wasn't until this Christmas I actually bought myself a Xbox One. And so I've been working through Gears 4, Titanfall 2, and Battlefield 1. Just because I figured, hey, those are the hot games right now. I haven't played in a while. But yeah, I played 360, NES, PlayStation, older consoles. I'm not really into Sony things. And it's not that I hate Sony. It's just their exclusives don't interest me. And as for the third party, you can get them on Xbox One, or a PC for that matter. That's the little thing I say, is that if I really had the time and money, I'd be a PC and Nintendo console owner, and I'd probably be set. Yeah, that's actually true, because I was going to say maybe not, because I really like the Gear series, even though I'm not like hardcore into it. And that's also why I ended up getting an Xbox One instead of a PS4. It's because I really wanted to try Gears again, because Gears 4 was getting pretty good reviews. Anyway, I want to go back on the Nintendo Switch tip, because this could just be a podcast of me repeating myself. I'm so excited, and that's because there's really not much to talk about until we get there, which I find interesting, because it's kind of the beginning and end of the conversation. That we don't know anything except for rumors, which are pretty safe bet rumors, which not me per se, but people can guarantee are going to happen. But I think there's a lot that we don't know, because Nintendo always has something up their sleeve that they never show. And so that's what I'm interested in. And that's kind of all anybody can say. And what I mean by that is on Twitter. Sorry, didn't mean to cough everywhere. Might have a cough attack. But I'm going to force my way through this. But yeah, on Twitter and on the big outlet sites, they've kind of just been reporting that the reveal is coming and how you should watch it and what we expect. But I feel that those are just like fluff pieces, kind of. And what I mean by that is they're just not clickbait. It's just kind of like empty writing, because it's like everyone's repeating the same thing about what they want, what they expect. I haven't clicked on any of it. I don't care, because I know that I have my own thoughts and predictions, which is also kind of why I started this podcast, is because I want to express my opinions and stuff in a way that I feel is more, I guess, outward reaching than just a tweet or a Facebook post. But again, I think the broader thing that I want with this show as well is to have audience interaction. I want the people who, like me, go to these big websites and see all these stories and want to comment. You scroll down to the comments, and there's just a lot of like hate on the internet, where you're kind of like, I was gonna write something positive or just like kind of noteworthy, but now I don't want to, because I feel like people are gonna just chastise me or fucking start a flame war against me for no reason, just for my opinion. And it's one of those things. I don't think people should feel that way. I think people should focus more on the positive side of gaming, and I think you should post a comment anyway. That's what I'll do sometimes, and it's only because I'm like, I'm just a nobody out of the 6 billion people, or closer to 7 billion people on the planet, and the internet is just full of noise. And I think that might discourage some people from posting on a comment thread or in a forum, but I think it shouldn't. It should kind of encourage you, because just like you feel like you're nobody, that actually puts you on equal ground, that everybody else is also nobody with you, which I guess inversely means that we're all somebody, which is a crazy twisted around way of basically, I like the way they say it in The Incredibles, where the guy says, if everybody's super, then nobody will be. And I feel like that's kind of the point of commenting and having social media, is that if we're all doing it, but when it was happening in the early 2000s, it was kind of a big deal. But now that everybody's doing it, it's really not a big deal. Nobody cares if you do it. I think now the bigger deal, or what people are starting to do more often, is become YouTube personalities and podcasters, because now that's kind of neat. But I feel like we're also on the cusp of that getting old, which is fine. It's just another hobby people do. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm watching the time here, and I'm approaching the 11-minute mark, and there's really nothing else to say except to get this ball rolling with the Nintendo Switch review, which again is going to happen in a couple of hours my time. And I hope to see you guys on the other side. I'll be posting another segment, which I'm not too sure. I probably shouldn't mention segments. I should just say, all right, and that's the end of this topic. Let's take a break and then put some music. I'm going to have musical interludes in between segments. But yeah, I don't know how to transition to them verbally. So I'll just say I'll see you guys on the other side. Bye. Welcome to this next segment of the Introspective Gamer podcast. And as you know, this is Friday. Well, you might not know, but according to my previous segment, this is Friday, the day after the Nintendo Switch detail review, or review, I guess. And basically, today I'm going to cover just a lot of bullet points from the presentation and give my overall impressions of different bullet points. And I mean, I guess if you want just a short note edition, I liked it. And I even pre-ordered one already, so crossing my fingers that those don't get canceled. So I'm going to start from the first bullet, which is the price at $299. It's actually a little on the high end. I was hoping for $249, like rumors were suggesting. But I mean, there was no way I wasn't going to buy it. I just wasn't sure if I was going to buy it at launch. And right now, as a side note, my finances are kind of okay and balanced, so I figured $299 is not too big of a deal. And the next bullet point is parental controls. And the reason I highlighted this was because it was a funny video where Bowser and Bowser Jr. are displaying of how to use them through a smartphone app, which I thought was really neat. So you don't have to be with the system all the time. And also it gave us a picture of the UI of the system, or at least 4 icons, which were the parental controls UI icon, the eShop icon, the album icon, and news and announcement. The album one is for whenever you do your screenshots or video in the future. The news and announcement one is how you're going to be getting your news and announcements from your My Nintendo account instead of having to log on to the computer to do it. The next thing I wanted to talk about was memory, which on the system is 32 gigabytes, but that's expandable with micro SD cards. But specifically, micro SD XC cards are accepted in this system. The reason that's a big deal is because those start at 128 gigabytes, or they actually start at 64 gigabytes, if I'm not correct. I just didn't list it because everyone's already worried about the 32 gigabyte limit, and so people are going to want a lot more, considering that the Xbox One and PS4, they have like 500 gigabytes and 1 or 2 terabyte systems out there. And so the micro SD XC cards actually go up to 2 terabytes. Now, I don't know if anyone's going to buy those, because when you get into 1 and 2 terabyte territory, the memory cards also become around $100 to $200. So that's pretty crazy. But maybe you can get a 128 for like $50 or something like that. Depends on how often you're going to be buying digital. Could be a very big discouragement for people who wanted to go digital. I like digital. And I also don't mind physical, though, because these cards are small enough to carry with you. So I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. And then the battery life. They say you can get around 6 hours, but it also depends on the game. They said like 2.5 to 6 hours, depending on the game. And they even have an example on their website that they say Zelda Breath of the Wild lasts for about 3 hours. So obviously, graphically intense games or a lot of processes with AI and different things like that are going to make the system run harder, so it's going to burn battery faster. Different from an indie game that's only like 2D graphics and very basic brawler or something like that. It's going to get you the full 6. I mean, again, this depends on how you see things. I don't mind this because even with my 3DS right now, I don't really take it with me a lot of places, and when I do, I kind of don't have a lot of time to play it. I'll be able to fit in 10 minutes, 5 minutes here and there. I'm always closing it for sleep mode. The most I ever play it outside of the house is actually at work on my break or lunch for like 15 or 30 minutes. And so having a 3-hour limit isn't a problem. But I guess if you travel on planes a lot or you on the road while your parents are taking you somewhere or something like that, I guess that's a problem. But again, I mean, if you're driving for 3 hours, like, goddamn, take a break, like stop at a diner and charge it while you're eating or something. And then the online situation is very interesting because they're going to have free online at launch, but around the fall, they're going to start charging. They haven't said the price of the online, but I assume it's going to be comparative to Xbox Live and, PS Plus, I think is what it's called. But I'm not sure. I think it's interesting, and as long as it's in line, if not even a little cheaper than competitors, I don't mind paying for that, especially because they're going to be offering a free game, an NES or Super NES game, for a month. Now, the text on the official website makes me wonder if it's only for the month, and I'm pretty sure it is because it says, and I quoted it here, for free for a month. That's very specific of, I'm going to give you this game for free for a month, implying that at the end of the month, you no longer have access to that game. And at first, I was like, But, well, number one, my idea on retro games is, or not my idea, my impression of, basically my opinion on retro games is that if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. I happen not to be somebody who's super nostalgic for that stuff, so I don't really care one way or another. But I also can see how people who are like, what the fuck? Like, games with gold and PS Plus let you keep them as long as you download them in your queue. But I also can see how on this thing, they're kind of like, hey, if you're not going to play it within the month you have it for free, you're probably not going to play it ever or buy it. Because I also know people who have games with gold and PS Plus, and they just have a big-ass backlog of games they're never going to play, similar to like a Steam account or Steam library from a Steam sale or a Humble Bundle type deal. But yeah, I notice a lot of gamers just kind of are incessant on buying things when they come out, or if there's a sale or a deal, but they always end up just leaving them behind. And when I say gamers, I don't mean like, only other people do it. I've done it, and I realized I was wasting my time and money, and so I stopped doing it because, anyway, that's another topic for another show. But yeah, so I don't know, some people might like it, some people might not like that they take the game away. But again, I figure if let's say you start Earthbound, a really long RPG, or not really long, but pretty good length, and you haven't finished by the month's end, if it's good enough, I don't think you'll mind dropping $5 or $7 for it. Again, this also calls into question backwards compatibility with the Wii U and 3DS Virtual Console, whether the account system is going to take that into account when buying it and recognizing that you have bought the game before. Who knows? That's all up in the air, so we'll see how that shakes out. Also, I wanted to make note of a smartphone. So voice chat seems like it's going to be used through a smartphone app, which again, people have critiqued. And I can kind of see... Okay, I totally know I sound like fucking like a fanboy. Sorry for the cursing also, by the way. It's just sometimes I think of... my mind thinks of a million things at the same time, and I think of all these really... I mentioned it last segment, hateful people on the internet that say really harsh things to other people, about other people, and as well as about companies and executives, like if they're stupid or they don't know what they're doing. And it's one of those things where I take what I get, because I'm not going to change their minds, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get into that either. Long story short, I can understand why they like this idea of using a smartphone app instead of making a way for the system to process voice chat, or figuring out a way to plug a headset into a console you can put in a handheld and TV mode at the same time. It kind of reminds me of their We Speak peripheral, which you would just put it in the middle of your room, and like a speakerphone, you would talk to people. That's how you would do voice chat on the Wii, which again, people didn't like or understood, but they kind of accepted it. And I figure that's kind of what they're going for with this app as well, is using your smartphone as an alternative We Speak, but a more future-proof one where they can send updates, and you kind of, again, don't have to clutter the system's processor and memory stuff with all that, as well as the hardware, making modifications to accept voice. Again, I know people are like, it's not a big fucking deal, or put it on the Pro Controller. Yes, they could have done all that, but they did this. So now I see it as it's our job to rationalize why they did it and just accept it, because you complaining on a comment thread or a forum isn't going to change it. So the next is accessories. Now, hot damn, I'll tell you what. These are some expensive accessories. I'm not even going to lie. I got the console and was like, I'm glad I bought the console. And I have no intention of buying any more controllers for the foreseeable future, even for my son. Even though I figure the Joy-Cons, me and him can just play multiplayer like that. I am not gonna buy him his own Joy-Con pair or anything like that. But anyway, to get into them. So the Pro controller is going to be $69.99. That's $70 for the Pro controller, which sounds really expensive because it is. Right now you can get an Xbox One or PS4 remote for about $50 to $60. But I also know that they have the Xbox Elite remote, which is in the $120 range. So go figure with that. I really don't know what to tell you, but that damn Pro controller or the Xbox Elite. And then the Joy-Cons, the small ones that are attached to the side of the screen, the main console, the pair of them cost $79.99, which is $80. And again, I really don't know how to explain that. That's a lot of money. But considering it's also half of the system, I can see why it would cost so much. Yeah, they're not just controllers. They're actually two controllers. And they're two controllers that you can attach to any console, whether it's your friends, if you take them over there, or your own, you know. So I can see how it works, but I mean, hot damn, that's expensive. I also don't see people going out and buying a bunch of these for the hell of it. And now you got the Joy-Con single, and that's $50. So you can buy one for $50 or buy the pair for $80. So you save $20. I don't know how much of a savings that is, considering, like I said, it's pretty damn expensive. And then they're selling a Joy-Con charging grip, which is basically the little shell that comes with the system where you attach the Joy-Cons and that becomes a controller. They're selling that for $30. Then there's a Switch dock set, which is basically the system minus it's where you dock the screen. So it's going to be the dock, an HDMI cable, I believe, and a power adapter. And it's basically what you need if you want to set your system up on another screen, which actually gives me an idea for where this might be going. But let me go ahead and finish this off. And they have a pair of Joy-Con wheels, similar to the Wii wheel accessory for Mario Kart. There's a pair of them for $14.99. So the reason the Switch dock set intrigues me is because even on the website, they mentioned that the screen aspect of the system is the system. That's the main system. And then you have your two Joy-Cons, and then you have the dock. What's interesting to me is that, in theory, if the dock is $90, then a bulk of the system is the actual screen itself, which is the main system. And a lot of people are, talking about memory problems, talking about graphical power. What if the Switch is an iterative console, just like the PS4 and Xbox One are attempting to be? So Microsoft hasn't said the Scorpio is the next Xbox, but all signs point to it practically being that, with as powerful as it's going to be. PS4 Pro was more of a small step, kind of like 3DS to new 3DS. And, we can guarantee that they're working on PS5 or whatever code name they have it under. But if they want to just stay as PS, the PlayStation system, and the Xbox console, and just kind of keep iterating, which is basically building upon what they've built before, like the phone market, where you have your iPhone or Android, Samsung Galaxies, and they just keep getting numbers and letters after them, and they're supposedly better than the ones that came before. Nintendo could theoretically make a new Switch system, which would just be a new screen that fits in the old dock and does the exact same purpose, for a cheaper price. So instead of so let's say they make the Switch 2 in like a year or two, then that Switch sequel would only be like $90 or $120, because it's just the screen. So for $120 or $150, I know I keep raising the price because I don't know. For $150 you get the screen, and if you already have a Switch, that's a good deal. If you don't, then they would charge you like $400 again, so that you would have to buy the updated model, or you could just trade in your system screen. And it sounds kind of crazy, but I also think, if they're really emphasizing that this thing is a bunch of pieces that you put together, with the screen being the system, I can also see how and why you could and would sell the system at a cheaper iterative rate in the future without having to do a complete system reboot or rebranding like Switch 2. It would just be, Switch S, Switch X, Switch A, whatever letters, numbers they want to put. All right, now we're getting to the games. I know I've been talking a lot, and I know I'm already at the 15-minute mark, so I kind of need to speed it up. But again, like I said, it might run long. I got a lot of info to run through. I'm really excited. Uh, so the games, I kind of put a couple. We have Zelda, which if you've been keeping up with, you know what it is. If not, just basically Skyrim with a Zelda skin on it, which makes it infinitely better, apparently. I mean, I don't care. I've never played Skyrim, but I can tell you what, as a Nintendo fanboy, this Zelda skin that they put on it really makes me excited to play it. 1-2-Switch is a very interesting game because they advertised it as a game that you don't play while looking at the TV. You look at each other. And it's basically like rock, paper, scissors, but with different games. Again, I haven't really read up on this one just yet, but it looks like, like dueling in the West, where at a certain timer, y'all both draw and shoot, and it'll tell you who shot faster. I think you can milk a cow. I think you can unlock a safe. So, there's other games. But yeah, you don't have to look at a screen. You both hold one Joy-Con each in one hand, and you're just competing with each other. I think the screen is there as like to let you know, like timer, or to inform you of what's gonna happen. But essentially, you're just playing with each other, and that's really neat because it brings it more to the tabletop kind of arena. And by tabletop, I don't mean like Warhammer and stuff like that. I mean more like just board games where y'all are just playing, you and your family, you and your friends. And I also think this is a great icebreaker for you to, you only need one console and two Joy-Cons, so you just take that over instead of saying, oh, you should buy one. You can take that to them, which is also the appeal of the system in general. It's like kind of its own advertising wheel. Then we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is basically just Mario Kart 8, but with more characters and a fleshed out battle mode. If that was something you were missing from the Wii U, then you're good to go. If not, then whatever. I'm kind of lukewarm on it. Not too sure if I'll get it or not. I might. I don't know. We'll have to see. Mario Odyssey. Now that one was really cool. That one basically, I mean, is just like Mario 64, but over, apparently around the world. It might even be I'm not even going to go to so far as to say alternate dimensions, but it sure is not the Mushroom Kingdom. How Mario ends up in this place with his hat power up and traveling in like a city with actual humans, as well as a jungle and like a Mexican themed village. I don't know, but I'm excited. I also love the pimped out Bowser, and who knows what's going on with all that white. Maybe he's and the bunny villains, those look cool. Instead of Koopalings, they got these weird rabbits. Anyway, Splatoon 2. I mean, if y'all haven't played Splatoon on the Wii U, I think now is the perfect time to get in on this. It looks great. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to play it. ARMS. Now, that was a game that they showed in the beginning where basically it's a fighting game where people have springy arms and you use the Joy-Cons to fight each other. It looked really neat. I mean, at first glance, it looked simple, kind of like Punch-Out or just Wii Boxing. But I saw this on the Treehouse Live event. They were demoing it, and it looks like a legit fighting game. And I don't know what it was. Maybe just my twisted mind. It kind of reminded me of Power Stone, but not really because it's very different. But I don't know if it was the graphical aesthetics or something. Those that don't know, Power Stone is an old Dreamcast game. There was a 4-player brawler that you would run around the map and fight and collect diamonds and do power-ups. Again, totally different. It's just, for some reason, it reminded me of that. And then you have, I just want to give a shout out to Fast Remix, or RMX. It's basically, there's a game called Fast Racing Neo on the Wii U, and it was a beautiful looking game back then. It looks gorgeous now on the Switch, and this is basically a remix or a remastered version of it, probably, with more tracks and racers. So I wanted to give a shout out to them because they're good indie developers. Lego City Undercover is another remaster from the Wii U days. My son's currently playing through it on the Wii U, and he really likes it, but he doesn't understand. My son's 3, so like he's about to be 4 in like I don't know, 5 months, 4 months, 4.5, at the end of May. But he's got it. He gets far, or he gets into the game, and then he'll delete his own save. So we gotta redo that. But anyway, he likes that, and so I might get me the Switch version so that I can play that on the Switch, and he can keep playing on the Wii U. Who knows? But again, the graphics look nice on it. The Legos look nice and shiny. which is a silly thing to say, but I'm looking forward to that. And then we have Skyrim. Again, I've never played it, and I am going to buy Zelda. So I don't know if I'm even going to buy Skyrim, but I think it's worth noting that they at least took the time to port it. Whether we're going to get the next Oblivion game, the next Elder Scrolls game, I'm not sure. But hopefully with them putting Skyrim on there, they kind of see some potential to maybe bring a port over. Again, the Switch, nobody has hard specs on it yet, but it is not as powerful as the PS4, Xbox One. So we will see how that shapes out for it. And then the last game on the list is Snipper Clips, Cut It Out Together. This one I just added to the list. Well, not recently. I'm recording this in the middle of the Nintendo Treehouse Live event. But I saw them demo it, and that game, that one's sneaky. And what I mean by that is I didn't pay no mind until I saw that demo, and I have to say it looks like an incredibly fun party game for 2 people. And hell, even people who are watching you, I was watching them and I wanted to participate or tell them, hey, you're doing it wrong. And it was just really neat. So I can see the appeal of it. I think y'all should keep it on y'all's radar if y'all are interested in party games, family games. And basically my last 2 points are just to recommend people to watch the Nintendo Treehouse Live event, which at this point is no longer live, but it is archived, so you can watch it in segments on YouTube, or they might even post the whole shebang, like all 7 hours or whatever it is. And the reason I mention this is because I really appreciate these Nintendo events, whether it's Treehouse or a Direct, which we haven't had, or even just a live event, because you get to hear the information from the horse's mouth, and I appreciate that because it's not through a filter of games media. And old games media, they would have an E3 press conference or any press conference in front of media journalists, and then the journalists would tell us what they received and what they heard. And it was very cloak and dagger the way me as a consumer was like, man, I wish I could see and hear the stuff they're talking about. But doing this Nintendo Direct thing basically cuts out the games media, because like, oh, my impressions of, and it's like, I don't care what your impressions are, because Nintendo told me what I wanted to hear, and I'm able to grab what I want from this straight from Nintendo, as opposed to IGN, GameSpot, Game Informer, Nintendo Life, whatever you visit. Those are some of the more popular ones. And yeah, I think it's important for people. I think it would be great if other companies like Microsoft and Sony followed suit, because it just makes it easier for the consumer to grab the information, and easier for YouTubers and podcasters to also spread the word themselves and influence. But yeah, that seems to be all of my points. And yeah, that video ran long. I'm at the approaching 23 minutes. Not too shabby. So yeah, this is my first episode, and I will close it out here. If y'all got any comments or questions, please contact me at contact@introspectivegamer.com or .org. It's org. For some reason, I couldn't grab the com, and org seemed like a safe bet, even though I'm not like some weird organization or charity. And yeah, follow me at I believe it's at Unsaluted on Twitter. And that posts to my Facebook page, my personal one, and my Introspective Gamer Facebook page, which y'all can also follow. I'll probably end up re-recording this ending and making a canned version of it that I just throw at the end of every episode. Not that y'all need to know that. It's just, since I'm going through the process, I would like to keep you on the loop of how I'm processing this. And alrighty, thank you guys for watching. I hope y'all found things informative. If you disagreed with anything, hit me up at the email. And if you just wanted to give me praise or give me a high five or whatever, hit me up on Twitter or something. Thanks for listening yet again, and I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.